that just speaks really to the high skill floor. Like, don't get Feral has a really high skill floor compared to other melee like Warrior, DK. You could probably even say it has a higher skill floor than Rogue.
I think, like, personally, and might be biased, but I think Feral has the highest skill ceiling of any spec in the game.
It's July the 3rd, 2024, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Jerosar, a WoW esports aficionado.
Hey guys, I'm Big Moran, a Resto Druid masochist, and we're joined today by Snuppy, who is a Feral Druid who just got back from a few cool events, which you might want to talk about. But Snuppy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Snoopy. I'm a Feral Druid player, multi-rank 1 Feral Druid. And I like to do a lot of arena, and I make videos and stream a lot. That pretty much sums me up.
Indeed. And we had you on just recently, about a year ago, talking about making videos. But yeah, glad to have you back and talk about Feral. Which one's more masochistic then, Resto or Feral?
I mean, I said that because I've been playing Resto Druid on Kata, but I think. In Dragonflight, you have to be, no offense, Snoopy, you have to be a bit crazy to play Feral Druid because you're pressing Cyclone and just getting like, everyone's wanting to stop you the entire game, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, it's a toxic playstyle, which, I mean, this is like something I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot in this episode. It's just that, like, the whole Cyclone spamming, because right now, like, you have to just clone to do damage, so you're basically casting more than you're doing anything else as a melee, which is a weird playstyle. And you're also getting trained down while you're trying to clone, so you're double kicked, gripped. Basically, like, you have to become like a good fake caster and get precognition so you can actually land cyclones to do damage. If not, you're just going to be doing nothing at all.
Okay.
Which is fun in some scenarios,
but
in others it's really, really brutal, especially like high shuffles where people actually know how to kick, they know how to be annoying. Yes. So wait, the question was what's more masochistic?
Yes, it was.
I think in retail, I think probably Feral. Feral.
Okay.
Yeah, but in Kata it's different. In Kata, Feral is like different.
Oh, you're a god in Feral.
You don't cast cloning in Kata, you instant clone in Kata. So,
yes.
Yeah.
That's well, I love it. And I think that's always a great thing about WoW, right? Is as expansions, the classes change, or at least they used to. But we'll get into that because you kind of you've already kind of foreshadowed that there's going to be some changes coming up in the War Within in how Feral's going to play, and so love it to hear that. I think before we actually get to that, though, I want to hear what Biggs did this week for the Need, Greed, and Pass.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, Harry!
Indeed. Kick an instance, let's talk about the Need, Greed, and Pass. So today it is Biggs' scenario with where he's going to pose that and 3 options, and we'll do the Need, Greed, and Pass. I remind again, those listening live, you can play along in chat, and those listening at home, head on over to our Discord, or go to Twitter, or just email us. Any of it. Tell us what you think for the Need, Greed, and Pass. But hey, Big, on to you. I want to hear what you came up with.
Yeah, so we actually basically alluded to the Need, Greed, and Pass just a second ago. So in the War Within, Wild Attunement is, I think, being removed. I mean, Snoopy, that's correct, right? There's no Wild Attunement currently. Okay, yes. So that is the PvP talent that whenever Druids land a Cyclone, their next finishing move applies Feral Frenzy, which is a lot of damage. So that's why Feral Druids spam Cyclone, because they just basically get infinite damage because of it. So it's being removed in the War Within. Now, we could put something there to replace it. So I'm going to give you 3 options. So option A is to bring back Cyclone in cat form, like Warlords of Draenor, where you had, I think it was called Shavara or something.
Yeah.
And you could be a cat and you could cast in cat form. So that's option A, to replace Wild Attunement. Option B would be to give back Predatory Strikes or Predatory Swiftness, which is what Feral Druids have in Wrath and Kata, where they can instantly Cyclone after spending combo points. Or option C, we bring back Wild Attunement. So we either get casting in cat form or instant Cyclones, but maybe Cyclone would have a cooldown in that case. And then option C is to bring back Wild Attunement. So Snoopy, which one are you going to need, which one are you going to greed, and which one are you going to pass?
Like, the thing is, like, I could talk a lot about each of these and kind of the pitfalls of each, but I think your knee-jerk reaction might be to want to get instant Cyclone, but I think in reality, like in the current game, I don't think it would be good for the game. So maybe I'll greed that. And when it comes to Wild Attunement, like, Wild Attunement is only one side of the story. Like, it's not the only reason we spam Cyclone. It's our 2-set, because our 2-set makes it so when you land a Feral Frenzy, you get 10% more damage on everything for, I don't know, like 7 seconds or something. So, like, if you only have Wild Attunement, you're actually not that incentivized to always Cyclone. But it's when you have Wild Attunement and the current 2-set, then suddenly you have to Cyclone. So, I think actually only Wild Attunement might be like need. Because I actually kind of think that it's fine if you take away the 2-set. Because on the beta, for the most part, until like a few weeks ago when they actually removed it, this was the case. Like, you had Wild Attunement without the 2-set, and it felt nice because cloning was still good. You still got some nice benefits, but it didn't feel like you had to clone to the damage. So, yeah, maybe so need, greed, and pass, yeah?
Yep.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna pass on cloning in cat form just because it doesn't really matter that actually. I don't think cloning cat form is that strong. Like, it doesn't really matter that much because, like, you can usually go back in form and save a global if you have like Tiger's Fury or whatever. So it's not like gonna have that big of an impact. So yeah, maybe I'll pass that one, even though I would like it. Let me see that. And I might greed on instant Cyclone and need Wild Attunement. But then again, like, this is Wild Attunement. It's different from how it is in retail alone. Yeah, I might go with that. But that might be like a hot take. I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
I think Jairus, why don't you throw your...
So I'm gonna pass on Predatory Strikes. I don't like it, like, for something like a CC like that where you can't kick it or you can't stop it. That's annoying. Understanding that, yes, War Within, we have, we talked about before, all the micro CC we have. So I mean, there's ways to stop a cast from happening other than a kick, which is avoidable, and then it brings on things like precog and that. But I think something like that I'd prefer if it was like Cyclone's so strong, instant cast, even though it's on a CD. Like, no, I'd rather not. So I'm gonna pass on that, and I am going to I'm gonna need on Cycloning in cat form, only because whenever I try to play Druid, I detest all of the shifting in and out of forms. I detest that. I detest having to have a macro that has, form added to part of the macro just so that it's a one button instead of trying to move my fingers around on 8 different keybinds just to do everything. So I think I'd like that personally. So I'm going to need on that only for that personal reason. And I hear you in the background there, Snoopy, agreeing to having all the macros. It's a pain in the ass, pardon my language. And so on that, I'm got the greed on Wild Attunement. I mean, it sounds like such a great talent. It's annoying that it's being taken away. Hopefully it's being replaced with something good though, because that sounds like it was a really good talent. So, oh well. On to that. Big. This was yours, but which ones did you choose?
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna go completely. I'm gonna do a curveball here. I'm gonna need on predatory swiftness, because I do like that on Kata there. At least it feels like there is some counterplay to it, because you can dispel the proc, and I kind of like that interaction where the clone is a bit more predictable almost. Like you kind of know when it's coming, even if it's instant, and you can still kind of counterplay it because Cyclone range is shorter than Dispel range typically. So I'm actually going to need on that, which I'm surprised I'm doing because I think that's really overpowered. But then I don't know what to greed on, honestly. Because on one hand, I like the ability to cast in cat form for the reason you mentioned. I mean, it is kind of... I mean, I've been playing Druid forever, and it is kind of annoying having, like, this need to burn a global to shapeshift. That can be... kind of there's a lot of situations where that's just obnoxious, and so casting in cat form would kind of solve that problem a little bit.
Yep.
But Wild Attunement, I do think I agree that playstyle is a bit toxic, and I think the comps that come from that are potentially even more toxic. Like, I know Feral Devastation was a popular comp, and that's just because one person can cast, one person gets kicked, the other person casts, and it's basically like a wizard cleave, but with a melee. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna greed on cycloning in cat form, and then I'm gonna pass on Wild Attunement. So I think we all had different answers, which is kind of interesting and very rarely happens.
True. Usually it's pretty much all one-sided. I like this one. Well, once again, those listening at home, please let us know what your need, greed, and pass is. In the meantime, we're going to cover some upcoming PvP events and then get into the actual subject.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right, so upcoming PvP events. The only ones that we are currently aware of are, for sure, is the main Blizzard event, the MDI, the Great Push. So Proving Grounds are done. Group A is starting actually this weekend. And actually today, if you guys saw, but the trailer for it just got dropped on YouTube. So if you're listening, head on over to the World of Warcraft YouTube and you can check out the new trailer for that. But yeah, so this weekend's Group A, next weekend's Group B, and then it's going to wrap up on the third weekend of July as the global finals, which will be some top 6 teams and $200,000 US for the prize pool. So that should be pretty good. And as far as I know, that's going to wrap up all of Dragonflight Season 4 for WoW Esports. So we'll have to see what happens next. I will say, so I'm just going to caveat what I said there is that the ones that we know for sure. I'm starting to get whispers and information that there's some monthly stuff that's going to be happening via some guilds and whatnot. One was the Solo Shuffle that we just reported on last episode. Apparently that guild it's a guild event, but they're hosting it like anybody can sign up, and that one is being done where anybody can join it, and they're going to do it monthly apparently. So that's going to be a monthly thing. And then I'm hearing that there might be some other community stuff going on, but that's it. That once I know the dates, I'll post them and tell y'all. Well, let's get into the subject of analysis and actually find out why Snoopy pounced on me the other day.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not. Actually, I think technically you pretty much pounced on Dratnos the other day because I saw you on that Twitter picture.
Yes, dude, he was so nice. Nice. I would never pounce on him.
Not unless he asked you to. Maybe pounce on his his dinosaur pillow. That's.
I've not seen that, but yeah, it sounds good.
Oh yeah, I know he always has it on his stream. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's talk about feral druids. how has Feral actually been this whole and let's talk expansion, not just season 4 right now.
Yeah.
But overall, let's just kind of look back in Dragonflight. I remember always hearing of Boomkin. Feral wasn't really talked about very much, but it kind of felt like things like Jungle Cleave actually were still doing fairly well. Am I wrong in this? Or was there like a lot of problems?
We're talking about like kind of launch now, early on.
Yeah, season 1 to season 4.
So
let's recap.
Okay, so like the thing is, we're gonna go through it because in the very beginning, in the very beginning, like the first maybe few weeks, Feral was insane. Like our bleeds did a lot of damage, and they ended up nerfing. I forget exactly what it was, but they nerfed like Rip and Rake flat by like, I think it was 18%. So in the very beginning, our tier set was also good. So if you had tier set early on and you had like, and you were a Feral Druid, you were maybe the best spec in the game for like a little bit. But then we got nerfed pretty hard. At this point, Wild Attunement was not a thing. And it was all about just spam bleeding. Like you would just spam Primaraph literally the whole game. Like there was nothing else to it. Just bleed.
And this is, I think you were playing double Feral for a while at the beginning of the expansion, right? Like doing main DPS. Like
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think we did. So yeah, you could like just rot people, and it was solid in season 1. Like Feral was good. It's kind of crazy if you think about like the playstyle difference from that and now, because then it was, I think we had Cyclone, but you never cloned. It wasn't worth the global. And if you think about that now, it's just like the polar opposite. But yeah, so
sorry. So you're basically PvEing your way through arena because you're just doing so much damage that it's actually not worth trying to CC.
Yeah, I remember solo shuffle lobbies at the time were brutal to heal. Like if it was like Feral plus like a DK, like Feral plus any other big damage AoE thing, it was like, oh my god, like this is gonna be a 30-second game. It was so much damage.
Like it was basically you just open up, you pop Berserk or Incarn rather, and then the more comp points you spend, the faster it comes off cooldown. And second Circ, you would just win basically, unless you die, of course. But it was all about just doing damage and CDRing as much as possible. And right now, you CDR, by cloning, because you get comp points by cloning. So that's actually good to do. But yeah, basically, polar opposite playstyle from what it's now. But we were very viable. Like it was strong. I'm trying to like recall. See, season 1, Feral was good. Like it was solid. The thing is, like often the community perception is that Feral's pretty bad. Because it's hard to get into, but usually Feral is always good and like this is why you see like top end ladder. You see a lot of Ferals. You see some Ferals, and this is also the reason why Feral rank 1 is so hard to get in shuffle, because there are like so few players overall that play it. But in the top end, you have like 10 Ferals who can pretty much get to any rating, and then they gotta compete for like 3 spots because there's no one actually playing Feral. So top 0.1% is. It's very, very few spots.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really tough to get. And again, it's just because like Feral, towards the top end, it works well, but you got to really know what you're doing. So it's a tough spec to play. But yeah. And then I guess we go through like season to season.
Sure. So season 1 started off with a bang, and then Nerfback came in, and you guys got snuffed a little bit.
But we're still viable. Yeah.
Okay, so a worthwhile nerf. And then season 2. I don't really remember hearing about Feral much during season 2.
Man, like my memory is kind of like blurred between like season 2, season 3.
Yeah,
I forget when Wild Attunement came in. What was season 2 10.2? No.
Let me take a look.
Ooh, yeah. No, yeah, season 2 should be 10.2.
No, season 2 was 10.1.
Was it 10.1?
So it came out in 10.1. Wild Attunement.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can't. I'm like, for some reason, I'm blanking. Is
numbering so hard?
Yeah. But yeah, probably. So Wild Attunement came out in season 2, though. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I forget exactly what our tier set was at that time, but I think like Wild Attunement was strong, but it didn't get like crazy strong until the 2 set current two set came in, which has been season 3, season 4, because they redid it in season 4.
Yeah,
That's the fire cat.
Exactly, yeah.
Tier set.
Fire smoldering thing, but yes, it's called Smoldering Frenzy. But then also again the 10%, 20% PP, 10% more damage on everything after Feral Frenzy. So, but yeah, season 2, if I recall, I mean, I got my rank 1. I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
If I can recall, but I can't remember the details. I think at this time though, like Feral started getting trained down more, like the squishiness. I believe maybe around this time, like our healing got nerfed, like regen.
Oh yeah,
got nerfed.
yeah. Frenzied regen took like a massive hit around this time.
But I think actually like that was also just nerfed from before as well. Like because I remember in Shadowlands, Frenzied regen was crazy, but that was like largely thanks to conduits or whatever, conduits and soulbinds and
adaptive,
stuff. Yeah. But then they nerfed Feral Frenzy, I believe, at the end of Shadowlands or start of Dragonflight, and then it got nerfed, and then the conduits went away, and then it just healed for nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that problem got like more obvious in season 2 as well. So yeah, I think like that's kind of like one thing I recall, and that's still a thing now, I would say as well. Is that like, and this is, I mean, most people that play Feral, this is their experience. Like they make a Feral Druid, the Q shuffle, they go trained down every round, and they just go 0-6. And they go like 0-12 the first 2 shuffles.
Yeah. Well deserved. No.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Got a fake cast, man. You got a fake cast. Get precog. That's the way.
I think that that just speaks really to the high skill floor. Like, Feral has a really high skill floor compared to other melee like Warrior, DK. You could probably even say it has a higher skill floor than Rogue.
I think like personally, and might be biased, but I think Feral has the highest skill ceiling of any spec in the game. And of course, I'm play Feral in my main, but but like just from, I think anyone that tries Feral kind of recognizes this, at least like it's up there, like of the hardest ones, because
I'm talking even the skill floor, like just to get it when you first walk in, like it's not a pick up and go like Warrior.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, the buttons kind of play themselves. Feral, it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, every time
Feral, just like pre-bearing, like you have to pre-bear stuns. Like sometimes is guaranteed death if you don't pre-bear. And just that, like for players, hard.
What's interesting is like very few people make alts of Feral Druids. Like I noticed that people who play Feral Druid pretty much only play Feral Druid, or they play Feral Druid and like one other thing. Like it's very uncommon for people to like deviate off their main once they've chosen Feral, because I think it's just its playstyle is so different than any other spec in the game that it's like impossible. It's like choosing to play something else, you're just gimping yourself.
That's all right, so season 3. So season 2 is a blur. Season 3, you now have
season 3 10.2, right? Yes. Okay, so 10.2, I remember like going into it very excited because it was like a Druid patch, it's like Guardians of the Dream. We got all the new cat forms and bear forms and new flame cat. Like it was a hype time to be a Feral Druid. And I think if I can recall, I think I was a bit like, we weren't as strong as I thought would be. And again, like the same thing here, like kind of from season 2, people really caught on to how squishy Feral really is. And at this point, Regen still wasn't buffed. They actually ended up buffing Rigor from Regen. I think it was later in season 3, maybe like around season 4. So at this point too, like still very, very squishy. Had to cast a lot. Wild Tomb at this point, like in combination with the 2 set and precog, I mean, it was very strong. It's I guess it's kind of the same thing we have now, I guess, Faded Season. So same kind of thing there. Very, very strong. So you kind of have to play a certain way. You have to land a lot of clones. Your bleeds don't really do much damage on their own. So yeah, like this is when the current playstyle that people kind of don't like for the most part really kicked in.
Well,
again, we were so strong though.
Let's talk more about that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't really know how Ferals play. So I want you to basically walk us through like an imaginary arena game. So gates open. what are you looking to do for your first few globals, and what are you looking to do mid game, throughout the game, and how, like, what is your win condition? Like, how walk us through an arena.
Okay. I mean, I played shovels today, like, so I can kind of cover the games I had today. Usually, like, you go in and you're gonna open up, you're gonna press your incarn instantly, right? And you start going ham. You just do as much damage as possible, apply bleeds. Like, the current playstyle now is a bit different than it is in Season 3. In Season 3, it was all about using byprocs. Now you actually go, like, there's a new talent. Maybe we should wait on this, because the Saber Jaws is a whole different story. The talent that makes your bites do more damage when you spend energy. So that's a different thing, which I guess we can get to when we talk about Season 4. But basically, the general theme is you go in, you get full bleeds, you start biting, and then once Incarn ends, it lasts for 30 seconds, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then you press Heart of the Wild, which lasts for 45 seconds, and that's going to increase your cast time. So then you start landing clones. You start cloning everything, and of course, every time you clone, you want to spend clone points, because then you get your free frenzy, and then you're just doing that. And then you're being annoying, you want to clone. Like, good ferals, good ferals know how to clone. You clone people low, you clone them on their trinket, you clone... Like, basically, you just clone everything, but you clone with purpose. Like, every clone is either peeling, or it's setting up a kill, or it's just baiting CDs, like stopping healing, right? So basically, you spam clone, and as you're cloning, you're doing damage, and you clone. Let's say this, like, for example, I'll clone, let's say, a Boomy or whatever on his bark skin. Then I jump on the Disc Priest, I maim the Disc Priest and start bursting him. Then he presses Pain Suppression on himself. Then I clone him before the stun is even over. And I'm back in the Boomy, and now the Barskin is ending, and I'm already blasting him. Then maybe I have a DR Rake Stun or a Bash or something. And then I'm going him, and then maybe the Priest will life swap, because now the Boomy's slow, and then I might half clone the Boomy again. Back in the Priest, Pain Suppression's over. Like, this kind of thing. You're just always reacting to what they're doing, cloning defensives, and... I mean, like, if you face like a good feral, you're gonna feel the pain if they know what they're doing in this sense. Because no matter what you do, especially like if they're getting those precogs fake casting you, it can be very hard to deal with. And that's what makes feral viable right now. Like, this is why ferals, are not just complete victims and getting blasted every game. Is because of this.
But before we go on, I know there's a lot of conversation always about nerfing Cyclone. That's been a thing people have been talking about a lot this expansion. But like, Cyclone is such a complicated ability. Like, it has a chance to be really strong. Like in all those cases you're describing, like, oh, I clone the Bark Skin, I clone this one. Like, of course Cyclone is really good then, but nothing is worse. I mean, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you'll disagree, but nothing is worse than like having a bad Cyclone. Like, it's like, oh man, or like, you ruined the kill. Like, that's really bad. So I think Cyclone in some ways, this is a hot take, but I think it's kind of balanced in that sense. Like, I
think so, yeah, same.
It's definitely really strong, or has the potential to be really strong, but it can also just be a game-losing ability. It's not that simple.
I mean, dude, this is like, I can start rambling on about this too, but I mean, we used to have high wins, right? You land a clone, and then, like, clone itself, I think, is fine, but you have all these things around clone. Like, Wild Tumment, if you remember, high wins, that got nerfed, I forget when, but, like, after a clone, they would take reduced healing, do reduced damage. And then, yes, but I think clone on its own, it's not that broken. And then you also have the extra range. Like, right now you have Astral Influence when you get a longer range on Cyclone as a feral as well. Like, clone itself, I think, is really not broken. It's when you get... There's all these, like, PP talents or whatever talents that can make it kind of crazy. Or, for feral, like we talked about, the 2-set. Because now, every time you land a clone... And, before this, I forget when they changed this, but initially, Wild Tumment, you didn't even have to, like, land a Cyclone. You had to finish the cast. So I could clone totems, I could clone anything, and I would still get the benefit from the Wild Tumment and the 2-sets. But now the clone actually has to...
Can you, like, clone into Bubble and, like, clone into Clone or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, all the time you do this. Like, if a mage was an ice block, you just clone and get like, a free frenzy ready.
So
that was actually really fun.
So I just want to recap back. So what I'm hearing is while you have to be smart about what you're cloning, this isn't like an RMP setup where where you stun the healer, and then stun the off target or stun the kill target and go. Like this is like you stun this one, you stun that, you clone this one, you go that one, you clone that one, you go this one. Maybe do the one in the back line because whatever to peel. It's as long as you land the clone, right?
Yes, I mean, true, kind of. Like, in Shuffle, that's kind of how it ends up being usually, because Shuffle's more random, right? Like, you're not going to have that good coordination. But if you're playing, like, 3s or even 2s, you can definitely do more of a setup thing, too, for sure. So, but yeah, I would say, like, in Shuffle, though, for sure, like, usually, you're not going to be on voice, you're not going to be communicating, like...
No.
I mean, so many times in Shuffle, I'll clone someone, like, when someone else is bursting into them, and I'll be like, dude... I don't care. It's worth it. Like, I get my free frenzy. I'm gonna swap this guy. I don't mind. So it's in Shuffle is a lot more messy, and like Big Bone said, like that's why clone is kind of punishing, especially in Shuffle. Like if I'm just doing my cloning, suddenly like my warrior or whatever decides to hard swap the healer, pop every cooldown, like when I was gonna clone him, and then it's like, and he's like charge Stormbolt as my clone lands. Yeah, it's just okay.
I'm sure some harsh words were said at your name if you did that. Like if I just blew my Swifty macro and I was going hard and you cloned just as I hit, I would. Yeah, I don't know what I would do.
So, sometimes, or actually, this happens a lot where I'm streaming and there'll be other streamers in my lobby.
Yeah.
And my chat will be like, "Yo, this guy's flaming you right now," and I'll be like, fair enough. But yeah, all right. I mean, I think people don't understand like how strong it is though. Like some people might be like, "Oh, you call my damage, whatever," but
in the meantime,
the amount of benefits.
Yeah.
You're
like 100 owing somebody while they're crying that they didn't hit the damage meter. It's like, okay, well, whatever.
Exactly. You just gotta let the feral clone anything he wants to clone.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna derail I'm gonna totally derail us. I have a question about this. And this speaks directly a conversation I was having with some other people. Selfishness in PvP.
Yeah.
Because what we just talked about is you saying, I don't care about anybody else. I'm going to do what makes me look good.
That's not quite what I said though.
Interpreting it a bit.
Yes. No. I mean, I think like what I'm more saying is like, I think people undervalue like how much, let's say we just did a go on a warrior, right? Yeah. And we still have some damage, but he starts popping and I clone him on his offensive CDs.
Sure.
Maybe people are like, oh, you just clone my damage. In reality, I just stopped the warrior on his own burst. He's out of the game. We're now in 3v2. Like basically I'm always having us be in a 3v2 if I'm always cloning people.
Okay.
Maybe we lose some damage, but no, I mean, it's a good thing you bring up though with like selfishness in PvP. But it's more like I'm helping them; they just don't understand it. You know what I mean?
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Well, and clearly, I didn't understand it because I took it as that like, yo, man, you're being selfish.
And what's interesting is the best like feral comps in 3v3 right now. I mean, I believe it's like feral dev is still good, FMP is still good. I think the reason those comps are so good is because the feral is kind of like it's just a sponge for interrupts, like. Just absorbing every single kick, and that way the devastation evoker, the mage, can just like have free reign. So in some ways, ferals are the opposite of selfish. Like at least in organized threes, like they're kind of like they get bullied. You get bullied, so you let your OP like overpowered wizard just like win the game. And like
didn't Swapsy say that once? Is that he didn't juke kicks because he knew that by absorbing the kick. Then his teammates could freecast?
I've talked about that a few times. I don't know.
I want to say Swapsy said that once too.
Like when you're playing with wizards, and like say I'm playing a Resto Druid and I'm playing with 2 wizards, it's like I'm not gonna fake cast. Like if I get kicked, that means we can win the game off of damage. Let them kick me. It puts the team in a really awkward position. Like either and I think that's why these feral dev comps like work. The team is put in such an awkward position. Like, do you kick the feral? Or do you kick the disintegrate? Like either one of those casts can win the game, and you have to just make a decision on what's the best one to interrupt at the time. So
fair.
It's
Fair.
That's why Cyclone's cool too. It's like on the nature school, and it's high value kick a lot of times.
Yeah, good. Sorry for derailing. It's just that just triggered me all of a sudden.
No,
It's
it's good.
Totally. All right, back to gameplay. So we were talking about a lot of arena. What about RPGs? Is it the same thing? Like, are you looking to only be in the team fight and like get these high quality or high value clones, or are you doing more like some more sneakier play?
Like I've not played RPGs. Like I'm not an RPG player.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I'm not.
No worries.
But I still have some insight here, I think,
Okay.
because I think RPGs is basically like, how do you say? It's kind of like shuffle in some ways.
Yeah, it is.
Especially certain like matchups. So yeah, I think in RPGs, at least if I was a Feral in RPG, I prefer to like most maps. You want to be in team fights, just cleave everything, full cleave build. Same thing. Play around your circs for the big dam, and I think also land clones. Like again, the 10% damage and everything is just so strong.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to land clones. I think in RPG, you should probably be able to clone stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's
There's
You
gotta
gotta, like-
something. You gotta be something you can clone.
yeah, like even like pets or anything.
Yeah.
And like spacing, like where you stand also, is such. Oh man, like this is like a whole different topic though. But like, I think this is one thing as well. Like people often ask me. Actually, just someone on my tweet today, I tweeted like that I got the highest Feral rank in Shuffle, and the guy answered my tweet and was like, I don't understand the difference between me and you. I'm Hearts like 2K, and you're rank 129 or whatever. And I think like there are things that are hard to really maybe quantify, but like just where you're standing, like what's your awareness, like can they stop you, like what can they kick you from here, can they stun you from here, of course depending on the class. And I think in RPG that would also be a big thing. Is like where are you standing, because if you're just middle of the team fight trying to cycle, you're probably not gonna have a good time. But if you move a bit to the side, maybe do a little mass route, whatever, create some space, start landing clones. And then when one target is cloned, that's one more target that can't stop you from your next clone, which is also a big thing in Shuffle. So, yeah.
That's
I think, yeah, I'll go with that.
That's 500 IQ. I like it.
I think that's like a common theme with WoW these days. Is like there really isn't that big of a difference mechanically between like a 2K rated player and a 2600 rated player. Like they're pressing the same buttons more or less.
Yeah.
And, I mean, people these days are crazy good at WoW. It's just there's a lot of small little details that I think really carry in Arena these days. And if you don't know those little details, then you're going to be at 2K, even if you think you're playing like a rank 1 Feral. So
yeah, I think also just like one thing to add to that, to what you said, is there's this thing, again, it's like hard to quantify. I guess it's game awareness, which is kind of more than just pressing your buttons in the right order. It's like knowing, I get game knowledge, like, but also like kind of in between the lines of like the matchup, the map, where people are standing, and it's kind of like, yeah, there's something there that's like hard to really even explain and hard to quantify, but it's like a very real thing that I think, like, really good players just kind of understand more. I don't want to, like for me now with Feral, like sometimes I can just play like, pre-bear for me, for example. I just do it like without thinking about it. It just happens. Like my body just knows like when I'm about to get stunned, and then I just react to it without even like thinking about it. And I'm already in bear form sometimes. I'm like, wait, what? And I think this comes from playing a lot of games, and people are like harsh, like low ratings, and might get frustrated. I think it's kind of that they're missing like overall awareness, which is hard to build up. But yeah, like playing a lot of games, and I think watching your own gameplay back, and like, yeah, analyzing but this is like anything. This is like, I talk about this a lot on my stream. But it's just like, it's a mindset thing. I don't want to go on a tangent now actually about this though, but it's all about like mindset when it comes to improving in WoW or anything else. and like building up that kind of thing that's hard to even put your finger on what it is, I think really comes from the work you put in there, which comes down to your mindset, like how you view things.
I can totally see that, and I think that's one thing where in like traditional sports, you have coaches who are looking at that stuff and helping you see that and think about that and then improve your gameplay. Versus in World of Warcraft, we often are, unless you're willing to pay somebody to do that kind of a review or help you along, more often we're left to our own devices to try to then see that and figure it out and coach ourselves, which I feel is probably one of the things that if a person doesn't have the time or doesn't have the mindset to be able to see the errors and then fix them, they're just inherently going to always be stuck, right?
Yes.
So that's hard. That's hard.
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I should say, like, this is a topic that I don't know if this is the episode for this, but I mean, it's such a big thing. Just like you have also just like wanting to blame other people. There's a big thing in Shuffle as well, right? Like people always want to blame other things, whatever, lag, other players, the map. Healer. Like instead of looking at like the healer, exactly. My example is always like if I'm gonna shuffle, right, and my mage that I'm with dies without ice blocking. There's one version of me that would be like, yo, you suck, you should have ice blocked in time, you ruined my game, I hate you, whatever, right? That's like one. Or I could think, what could I have done to give him more time to ice block? Could I have root something? Could I clone something? Could I stun something? Could I have been in a better positioning? Could I kick this? Like, basically, the second there is the right mindset you want to have. Not just in WoW, but in life. Like, don't, like, focus on what's in your control. You control what you do. You don't control, like, if your mage ice blocks. But you focus on this, and if you can like really integrate this mindset, and I want to say like this is like beyond WoW. WoW is a part, like this goes into WoW too, of course. But if you can have this mindset, you will improve so fast because you're putting your energy where you actually have control. And of course, if I'm putting 75% of my energy into flaming my mage, then that's not going into actually bettering myself, right? So
Yeah. This feels like we could spin off into a conversation about egos.
Yeah, 100%. I would have been. I don't want to do that. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I love it, and I actually I kind of wanna. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanna.
Yeah. No. Like this is a good subject. It's a good subject.
I honestly, I just asked myself, what would John Cena do? But.
What would he do though? That's the question. I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's kind of a toss up between, improve himself and put his hand through the monitor. I don't know what, I can't afford that many keyboards. Time. Yeah. All at the same time. I think, I don't know. It's always a question about, and with Shuffle again, like that kind of goes back to that selfishness is, because people, if they lose a round because the mage didn't block, and they think the mage should have blocked, because their perfect game, their gameplay is perfect, and there's no reason why, they shouldn't have won. At the end of the day, that's one round, so that's one last chance of doing 6-0 or 5-1. Now they're going close to 4-3, where they may not even get CR. Or worse, they're gonna 0 and lose MMR or something stupid, or get some sort of negative return, and then and so again it goes back to that selfishness of the gameplay is not about is about how that other person's gameplay or lower level gameplay in their mindset impacts their CR, and I could go on about that for a bit. I think instead what I'd rather go on about though is talents, and I think I don't know. Okay, so we've gone on for these tangents are lovely, but I feel like it's kind of a waste to go through the talents. Like we only have a few weeks left. Do you have like a video on your YouTube channel or something like that I can just say, go to Snoopy's channel and watch this, and he'll tell you what talents to take.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can just link it. Should I link it in chat here?
Yeah, go for it. That'll be easy.
This is my it's my guide. My guide for this patch, season 4, and
Okay.
it covers everything from talents, builds, gear, all that stuff.
Perfect.
Kind of just catches you up.
Okay, gear then. So before we switch into gear, I'm going to put a pin in that one. For the PvP talents, though, is there like a set and forget, or is there like some nuances there that we should talk about?
I guess like there is, to a large degree, kind of set and forget, but it does depend on what you're doing.
Okay.
For example, like our MS effect, Wicked Claws.
Yeah.
Is a PvP talent, and if I'm playing with like a warrior or hunter, I probably don't need that.
Of course.
So that's one thing. But for the most part, you're gonna play with Wild Attunement and with King of the Jungle. If you're gonna be cleaving, King of the Jungle gives you more healing and more speed for each rip that's active. So especially if you're cleaving, you're gonna have that one. Wicked Claws. Like there is some room for like Strength of the Wild and stuff.
Okay. What's
It's like
what's the
actually a pretty
scenario
big
here?
topic as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so if we're not going to go into depth on the talents, let's at least go into depth on the PvP. Like, why is there this hesitance? Or you said set and forget, but then you just listed off like 8 talents. Like you can only pick 3.
Well, like I'll say this: when I just shuffle, like 90% of the time, I'm playing the same talents, the same. Like same 3 talents, right? Which I could probably wait. Hold up, let me just make sure I'm not saying this wrong, like the names. I got it here in my armory.
Okay, well, it's probably King of the Jungle and Wild Attunement for sure.
Yes, and then Wicked Claws, right? Like usually, I played those 3 exactly. Yeah. So Wild Attunement, Wicked Claws, and King of the Jungle. Those 3 are pretty much always solid. Again, if you have like a different MS effect on a team, you can always go for like Strength of the Wild over Wicked Claws. If you're not cleaving for some reason, if you're doing 2v2, you don't necessarily want to play King of the Jungle. You can also change that out for example, Strength of the Wild.
Okay.
But those 3 are going to be the best in almost every scenario. Yeah.
Okay, so like I think I saw it like on Murloc. There's some people that pick Ferocious Wound or Fresh Wound.
Yeah.
Why would you use those? Like, what
So
would be the scenario there?
Scenario, okay, I guess let's say that the scenario is that I'm playing Pharaoh, Disc Priest 2v2, and I want Wild Attunement for the Free Frenzy. I want Wicked Claws for the MS effect, but I don't really need King of the Jungle because I'm not really cleaving, so you only have 1 rip active, really. Yeah. So at that point, you could swap that out for example, Ferocious Wound if you want to be a bit more deadly, or Strength of the Wild if you want to be a bit more tanky. That's like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you kind of extrapolate that logic onto like any scenario. Just like, what am I facing? What am I playing? And then you'll figure it out from there. In my guide, though, I got to say, like, I talk about this more in depth in my guide.
Okay.
Like, where I kind of, break it down a bit more.
All right. I appreciate it. Now, the War Within.
Oh, yeah.
We have hero talents, and I've been seeing some changes in the beta notes. Are we seeing a big change in talents besides the hero ones added?
Yeah, I mean, so this is one thing we didn't talk about yet. This is season 4 thing, is Saberjaws, a bite talent. But yeah, I'll say this, like, for the War Within, things are changing quite a bit. The Druid tree itself has gotten like a great rework. It's now pretty much what it should have been the whole time. Okay. Cyclone has moved into a way more accessible place, and just like general tree branching is looking way better. But the talents themselves are similar. The build I'm playing right now on the beta doesn't even have Incarn, which is a pretty big change, because Incarn is now down from 30 to 20 second uptime, and Cirque is down from 20 to 15. So the difference now in Cirque to Incarn is 5 seconds, not 10 seconds like before. So the value in like going down to Incarn is a bit less. So I've kind of put those talents more into improved Fury and also Saberjaws. So the whole playstyle is different though, Feral now. Like Wild Attunement is gone, like we mentioned earlier. different 2-set. But yeah, basically, you don't clone for damage anymore. You're more back to if you guys remember Necrolord like playstyle for Feral Druid in Shadlands.
No, I don't.
It's bleed
like-
heavy, right? Like dots.
Bleed, yeah, dot heavy, but like not so dependent on cleaving necessarily. Like your
Okay.
single target bleeds are pretty deadly on their own, and your bites are also deadly. And now your bites buff your single target bleeds. So when I bite a target, all my damage over time effects are buffed on the target for I think 4 seconds, which has changed from right now in retail. You bite and all your rips AOE are buffed for 4 seconds. But now it's all bleeds on one target.
Okay.
So our like single target pressure bleeds are a lot better. You're not forced to cyclone through the damage, which is like why I think people are very excited for Feral in the War Within, because people do want that bleed playstyle. They don't want to spam clone to do damage. And I would also say we feel more tanky. But yeah, like talent tree wise, it looks similar, but there are some changes. And I made a video on this like a couple days ago, but power shifting is going to be back to a new talent called Fluid Form, which makes you able to skip global when you shapeshift. I think you mentioned this, Garrison, or you both maybe talk about this, but like when you're shapeshifting, it can be annoying.
Yes.
Having to have like macros and stuff. Like now, if I'm in bear form, I can press rake from bear form and it's going to put me in cat form off global.
What?
Or if I'm in bear form, I can, yeah. Or you can mangle in cat form and go bear form off global, and you can shred in cat form, no, in bear form and go cat form off global. There's like a few different
That sounds
things you can do
amazing.
there. So, yeah, it's neat for shapeshifting. So,
Oh,
and that's a new thing, brand new thing.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, because nothing's worse than trying to push a button and I can't because I'm in cat form or I'm in bear form and I can't. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Can be clunky.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if I press sprint, I suddenly turn into a cat, but then I can't get out of cat form until I like push another button to. All right.
I think it's like one thing about Feral too is like using your globals. For example, if you want to leave cat form, one version of this is pressing cat form to leave cat form, then cat form to go back in cat form.
Yeah.
Or you could cast a Redruve, which is going to take you out of cat form by itself, and then you could, for example, Fury to go back or dash or whatever. If you see what I mean.
Yeah. No, exactly. But if you don't know that, then you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Again.
There's so many small things like this.
No, exactly. And again, I think that back to the skill floor alone is pretty high compared to a lot of other class. Well, even Resto, like no offense, big, but I think Resto Druid is a lot easier to play than Feral.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Healing is hard though in Shuffle, especially.
Pardon me?
I said healing is hard, especially in Shuffle. I think healers have it harder than maybe than Ferals in general, just in Shuffle. That's a whole different topic though.
Yeah.
Like with Resto Druid and Feral and kind of what's more hard or whatever, or what's more masochistic. I think. Yeah, but that's a whole different thing. Just
Well-
healing in general in Shuffle.
I don't know. How often as a Feral are you lining your healer versus how many times as a healer are you running to try to catch up to the DPS that lined you while they die, right? Like
my take on this, and I don't have that much experience multi-classing, but I found playing melee by far to be way easier than playing a caster, and I thought healer was somewhere in the middle in solo shuffle. I think if you play like a mage, there's a lot of situations where you're not gonna have fun at all, and that's really, really difficult. But when I played melee, I feel like I had the most fun. But maybe it's because I was playing Acid Rogue, and that was these past 2 seasons, and it kind of felt like you could do whatever you wanted. But yeah, healing is definitely hard.
Somebody in chat just threw down as masochist. Disc Priest Solo Shuffler checking in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard spec, man. Disc I think that's one of the hardest specs in the game, right alongside Feral, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Now that we've completely derailed, I'm going to bring it back. I think we've kind of already talked about tier set because we covered that already earlier, although out of sequence, which is fine. I think big. Do you want to go into, I don't know, let's talk stats and stuff like that? See what we're building towards?
Yeah, so just out of curiosity, what's the stat priority for Feral Druids right now?
So, like, Verse Mastery are both very good. Like, you basically want to get a lot of both. Some Ferals go higher Mastery. Maybe certain comps you can get away with higher Mastery and, like, less Verse. But generally speaking, Verse Mastery, both, like, that's what you want on most pieces where you can get it, Verse Mastery. Haste is very nice now because of Cyclone. If you have high haste, landing clones is way easier. And as talked about a lot already, landing clones is very, very important. So, yeah, good haste is also important. Crit is the last prio. I feel like crit is just not... It just doesn't really do that much, at least compared to the others. So, yeah, crit comes last. And, yeah, that's like the basic stat prio.
Nice. And then are you looking for any sort of breakpoints? Or are you stopping at like 40% first and then going master? Or does it not matter?
I feel like it doesn't really matter. Like, I think I'm on about 35% verse in PvP. And then I'm kind of stacking mastery after that. But yeah, like I think, like what I would recommend people is basically just go to my armory and just copy my gear, and you're gonna be good to go. I think, yeah, both are good. Some go a bit more, some go a bit less, basically.
People are very particular about stats. Like I always in the skill cap Discord, people are always like, "How much verse should I have?" or "How much mastery?" It's like, well, it's kind of up to you. I mean, like at the end of the day, like getting really precise stats, I don't think matters that much. I mean,
I think it's like a personal preference to some degree as well. Like or like how good are you playing defensively? If you're very good at pre-bear forming and very good at kiting, you could probably have a bit less verse. If you're just like spaced out, never doing anything defensively, then you probably want to stack up some verse. Same with like some ferals, even though all ferals clone quite a bit, and some comps require more cycloning, less. So haste is also like one that you can have a bit less or more of, just kind of depending on what you're doing and just like your playstyle. So yeah, I agree with you there, Big Mo, that it's like it doesn't really matter. Just get your good gear, get gems, enchant. Like the nitty gritty, like the exact percentage doesn't really matter at all. At least not for most things. I think certain specs have like cutoffs, but yeah.
Speaking of getting your gear, your embellished pieces, you mentioned you have to play precog. Are you playing precog every single game? And then what is the second piece you're wearing?
Yes, yeah. So I play precog always, and the second one is the boots one, the one that gives you like main stat on proc, or like when you CC or slow someone. I think.
Yeah.
The infurious foot wraps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, do you ever play without precog, or is that just every game?
No, this season is every game. Yeah, like you never don't play it. Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be where you would maybe play it, not play it, but now it's always on.
And so I'm guessing for racials, you probably want to be Night Elf, right?
Yeah, definitely Night Elf, 100%.
It's
Shadow Meld is too strong.
Yeah, here's something we can talk about briefly, because I've been seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter and on Reddit about like nerfing Shadow Meld, which I don't know. I mean, I think it's strong right now because Orc and Human were nerfed, and so Orc and Human got nerfed considerably over the past few expansions. And I think because of that, like Night Elf makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for rogues because of subterfuge, and for druids because of re-stealthing. Everyone else, though, I don't know if like. Well, I mean, what do you guys think about Night Elf? Do you think Shadow Meld should be nerfed, or I don't know what my take is.
Yeah, Garrett, sorry, you go first. Yeah.
So I think really the biggest strength to Shadow Meld is it also takes you out of combat, right? And so that's the biggest complaint is, especially when you're dealing with rogues and some other stealth class, really just rogues. But like it's one thing to meld and suddenly that one spell that Chaos Bolt didn't land, or the the clone missed or whatever, right? Okay, so that's annoying. But I think the biggest thing is really the rogue problem, which is you have these rogues where, they have a go, then they vanish, then they have a second go, and then they meld, and then they have a third go, and try to survive all that. Like it's just too much. So I think that's really what a lot of people are having that angst with. Am I wrong? Snoopy, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're wrong. Or like, I think for like certain specs classes, it's stronger. Like for Feral, you get a free rake. For Rogue, you get subterfuge and stuff. But I feel like meld is what it's a cool thing. I think it adds. It's like a skill expression thing. Like I can meld a leg sweep. I can meld a case ball. I can, like meld is. I think it's like the game should be designed with like things like this, that are, if well timed, very very cool in certain moments. Yeah. I guess just the thing is that it is a bit stronger for certain things. I guess Druid and Rogue, and that could be a bit of an issue in some ways. But I think it's fine. I think meld is fine, basically. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think they should bring back if they're going to leave Night Elf as strong with Shadow Meld in current. I think they should bring back Blood Elf Arcane Torrent.
Yeah, that's a weird one that they nerfed. I'm guessing they nerfed that because of Mythic Plus, because having AoE silence is really good. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. The Blood Elf racial was really cool, I thought, and it was definitely more exciting to press it when it was a silence. I mean, a lot of the racials could be reworked, but I think they're all kind of niche. Like they're all really interesting, which I really disagree with when which one?
Not all of them are really interesting. There's some that are poop.
Yeah, I guess like Volpera. I don't even know what they do. Like they get a bag and they take tricks out of. I don't know what that does, but I think a lot of them are interesting. Like Void Elf, whatever, the blinking. That's pretty neat. I always think it's really cool when a Void Elf does that. I really disagree with this crowd that says to disable racials in Arena. Like, I think that's just bad. I think racials make the game kind of a bit more complex in a good way. Definitely they can be really frustrating to play against certain racials. Like if you're Boomkin playing against like a Gnome Priest, it's like, well, okay, there goes my root beam. That can be annoying. But at the same time, I think they gave the Arena a nice little spice. Like the right amount of spice. They're not too intrusive to the game, but they are important.
I think, at least on the higher end, I think a lot of people are tired of every expansion feeling the need to race change. Or because of some racial inequality that happens. Like, and really, I think.
Yeah, that's but why... I mean, for the past 15 years, the best races have always been like one of four things. It's not like people are needing to race change every expansion because there's some dramatic shift in the meta. It's always been the same four races: human, orc, night elf, and then dwarf. Those have been the meta races now for over 10 years.
No, I think Gnome has come out a lot higher this expansion.
Gnome is good on warrior and priest, yeah, but
and druid for roots.
You can't be you get against, or I'm sorry, as a warrior, as a priest.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay.
Gnome druid. Yeah. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
That would be.
We need that.
Pointless. Escape artist is shape-shifting.
If you shapeshift, if you were a gnome and you shapeshifted into feral, would you be like a little kitty cat instead of like a
He'd be a rat.
People have like made this like concept art and stuff, and kind of there's like posts about this on Reddit where people talk about this topic, like what it would look like, and it'd be cool actually. You're like a little kitty cat.
Yeah. I immediately think of that cat you posted. What class would you delete if you could save this cat?
Oh, Yeah.
Too funny. And yeah, chat's pointing out, the fact Dark Iron was the go-to, especially in Shadowlands because of the bleeds and its bleed counter. I don't know. I just remember, when Orc Rachel was really strong, then there's a greater number of Horde players once I got nerfed, and then other people found human and Night Elf and switched over.
Until Orc Racial was nerfed, by the way, that race had a stranglehold over PvP.
Yep.
I remember looking at Drustvar, or one of those sites, maybe it was ArenaMate or something, and it had a breakdown of race on the ladder, and Orc was always number one by like a massive margin. Like 40% of PvPers were playing Orc. Half the player base was playing one race. And because it was so good. I mean, it was so good in an effortless way, right? You'd play Orc and you'd play Relentless, and then suddenly you had 40% reduced stun duration or 30%. I don't remember how they stacked, but that was pretty crazy. Now I just think that people are swapping over to Night Elf because it's the best option now that Orc is gone and Human is kind of bad. I don't know if there's any reason to be Human anymore.
I think there still is, for people that want to RP as a human. Speaking of RP though, if it wasn't for Shadow Meld, what race would you like to be for RP reasons, Snoopy?
Well, things like I don't really do RP, but I think like Night Elves look the best. Like they are the coolest.
Okay.
But I do like Undead. Undead is nice. The thing about Feral though, like you're always in cat form anyways. But I love like when I use like a Noggin Fogger or some kind of toy, and like you're in cat form, but you get like a humanoid form.
Yeah.
And it's always really really nice. Or like Orc even. See, but maybe I go like Undead. But I wish you could be Undead while I'm in cat form. You know what I mean?
You want to be like a zombie cat. Really?
No, or like just in undead form, just humanoid form.
Okay.
Because it looks cool. Like I feel like I do more damage when I got the toys on, and I'm in those forms. But yeah, that's a pipeline dream, I think.
That'd be weird. Hey, why am I getting raped by this skeleton? All right. I guess the last question before we go to the ultimate question we always ask is strategies. What kind of comps in twos are you looking for? Like if you're looking to push twos, are you doing feral healer? Or are you doing feral DPS? Or what are you looking for?
Feral healer is going to be better, like feral holy priest or feral disc priest. Those two are going to be the go-to. Double DPS is also fine. Is way more punishing and harder to play, but like Red Feral, Shadow Priest Feral Druid, Awfully Feral Druid is quite fun too.
Okay.
Yeah, I see those.
All right.
For 2v2.
It sounds like I hear a few of those have off heals, so I'm seeing a healing tinge to that still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in double DPS, usually you gotta have double hybrid. If not, you're just gonna flop.
Fair.
But Awfully Feral works in a way because you got the gateway, you got the Healthstone as well. So that's very, very helpful.
Okay. And then threes. What are your best comps?
So Devastation Feral Druid, like Fistweaver, is really good. FMP. You can play Fire FMP with the Holy Priest.
Okay.
Jungle, MM Jungle we saw in the last AWC. I think he's still pretty good too. So I think those, like Feral can play many comps that are not like super meta. You can play like SP Feral or like Warlock Feral healer. Red Feral actually played quite a bit this season. Red Feral Fistweaver also pretty good comp.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll say like you probably have those three that I mentioned first that are like the best.
Mm-hmm.
Your best options there.
Is it, if I remember, this was a season, like season 3, season 4 was a season where it was like if you just added a rogue Like you kind of like the rogue stunned everything and you just kind of won. And so a lot of comps start seeing a lot of rogue X healer. Is rogue feral a thing?
Asa feral actually, like when I play shuffle, there's quite a bit of Asa rogues nowadays. And when there's Asa rogue on my team, usually we do really well. I think Asa feral can work for sure. I think it's like a comp though that's more like you can make it work, but it's not necessarily like the meta. I mean, it's definitely not the meta, but you can make it work. I think I mean, Asa rogue is crazy right now.
The weird thing about WoW right now is it's really hard to make a bad comp. I can't really explain it, but it feels like everything can kind of play with everything, and it's okay. Like obviously there are going to be some bad comps, but it really feels like there's a lot. Maybe the game is just really homogenized enough at this point where, like, you know, every melee has a mortal strike except for a few of them, and so there's just kind of passive synergy now between a lot of classes that otherwise wouldn't have it in the past. Like if you were to ask me like 5 years ago, is Feral Rogue a good comp? I'd be like, no, definitely not. But now it's like, yeah, I can see that. You know,
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
I can work.
Make it work.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's just damage, right?
yeah.
A lot of damage.
Big damn.
A lot of bleeds.
Yeah.
Think about Asa feral, like they both bleed, and it can be very, very overwhelming. Which is what I find in my shuffles now too. When you have Asa feral, if you just cleave everything and like coordinate your stuns somewhat, you can make it happen.
Fair.
And then, well, I was gonna ask.
Sure.
Yeah. So if we're playing against a feral druid, what are the main like win conditions for the druid we need to be looking out for? Like what do we need to be playing around?
I don't know if I'm allowed to share this information publicly like this. This is not a good move at all. Really though.
It's okay. The season's almost over, right?
Yeah, I guess you wanna not waste kick. You wanna actually be good at kicking. Like don't just instantly lock. Like he's gonna try fake cast, right? Like just don't hold your kick a little bit here. Let him fake cast, and don't let him land a clone basically. So yeah, just stun him, grip him, like whatever you can do. Don't let him clone.
Okay.
That's the main thing. Try catch him out of bear form. Like don't be too obvious when you stun. Try catch him out of bear form because that's gonna be easier to kill when it's in cat form. And when it comes to, like living against the feral, you gotta watch out for Incarn. In Incarn, you're gonna be in big trouble. Like they do a lot of damage. So yeah, watch out for Incarn. That's like the biggest thing.
Make weak aura for Incarn, pop defensives.
100%, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Or just add it on Omnibar. But then you gotta pay attention. You gotta see it pop up. You want the sound, dude, like bells and everything going off. Incarn is used.
Gladiosa is talking in my ear. Incarn.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, definitely like trade defensives on Incarn usually.
Okay.
And yeah.
Makes sense.
I'll say those three. There's some more things I could share here, but those are too confidential.
I want to know how to kill you.
The feral mafia will come after you. Like...
Well, here's the thing. I maybe have some personal secrets as well. that no one can know. Yeah.
Oh.
No one can know. No, there's nothing too crazy. This is like small things you can do. There are small. Yeah.
So okay, so in order to kill you as a feral druid, all I have to do is stun you in cat form and make sure I actually kick your clone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
it's gotta be more than that. No, there's gotta be more than that.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, no, but like really, like that is kind of what it is.
Okay.
I'm being honest there.
All right. I believe you're being honest. I just believe there's I feel like there's some juice.
It's like a half truth.
Yeah. Yeah. You're smiling.
No, but
it's all good. It's all good.
But this is it. This is it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I have to ask the one question, which is the question we always ask, which is you had unlimited money, unlimited control of Blizzard. You say jump, and they say how high. We'll make it happen. What's one thing you would change about World of Warcraft PvP?
Oh man, like I think this is very relevant now with the BG Blitz being announced, or like it's not even announced, coming out soon. It's like proper funding and like everything. Like basically, BG Blitz comes out, right? There's two kind of realities that can happen here. One is it comes out, it's like not really incentivized. There's no mount. There's no cool rewards. There's no new maps for it, except for there's one new map. But like they don't like reiterate on it. They don't keep making it better. It's gonna comes out. It's kind of what happened to Shuffle to some degree, I think. But with Blitz, it's gonna be more apparent because it's like, I would say it's more radical change. But basically, the other thing that could happen is that they properly incentivize it, hype it up from the get-go. Like you can hype it up in a year from now. It's too late. Like you got to use the release hype. So basically, what I would do is like really make sure that it's getting the attention it deserves in rewards, and like just kind of reiterating on it, making new maps for it, like design for 8v8. And it's like basically you got to keep up with it. And I think things are easily just released and just kind of left to its own device. And I think Blitz, especially for Blitz, it's going to be so important to like give it what it deserves, like proper rewards and like incentivize people to actually play it. Like cool mounts, cool whatever, but because like Shuffle never even had a Glad mount or like a Glad equivalent mount. I don't know. I think
did it deserve it though?
I don't know about like a Glad equivalent, but I think a mount, yeah, for sure.
I really, when people say like, oh, like Shuffle's not as serious as 3v3, I think it still deserves like some respect. It's still kind of hard, like your execution tested. So I don't know why it wouldn't have a cool reward.
I'm not saying a cool, like by all means cool reward. I'm just not sure if it deserves Glad mount, but
like Glad mount, I guess. Amounts like they could do different recolors or like its own thing. I think it's like such a, I mean, it can't cost, of course, I don't know, I don't make games, but it probably costs quite a bit to do this. But like make your own unique mount for that game mode and then just do it like different colors each season or whatever. I think like, or I don't even think, I know that goes a long way for myself and for everyone I talk to about this. It's like if there's a cool mount, like that alone will make you want to play. But even just like rewards like throughout the whole thing, like rival or whatever, 2-1, I think if you can kind of string people along from like 1400 to whatever 2-4, I think like I think like reason we might like, and I kind of agree, like Shuffle right now seems like maybe a bit of a joke in some ways, and I think that's partially because Blizzard to a large degree treated it as a joke and still do. I mean, why is there nothing like really there? It just kind of, it feels like there's so much untapped potential, and I really hope that they do that for Blitz and tap into potential. Like one of the things I hate the most is like when there's potential there and it's right there and I feel like it's untapped. And I think small things go a long way when it comes to this. And just from like my own personal view, but also people I talk to, like I think it could really, really do WoW PvP like a big favor. And not just mounts, but like reiteration, like continuously, like make a new map for 8v8, maybe like a new kind of like reimagine what WoW PvP can be. And that's the question was, what if I had unlimited money and like I just could decide, that's really what I would focus on.
Okay, so shift the focus of Blizzard to BG Blitz and iterate on it and just pump it. I like it.
Yeah,
Ooh, that actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Ooh, nice. I like it.
Goosebumps.
It does.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. It's exciting. Hopefully they do it.
Well, if you had the money, we would. Big.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Same to you, buddy.
Yeah. So I think just based on what was just said, I agree. Like BG Blitz is very important, and one thing we've talked about or we've kind of debated about internally, is who has a bigger player base? Is it random BG players, or is it arena players? And I think, regardless of what the true answer to that question is, because I think it's arena players, but whatever, I digress. I think, I think BG Blitz presents an opportunity to funnel some BG players into arena players, and if it's properly incentivized. So my thing that I would want to change is basically incentivize that funnel. Like if you're a BG player, maybe get some incentive to play arena more frequently, whatever that is. So that would be what I would change. That's what I want to incentivize a funnel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jarazar, what about you?
As you're talking, I can't help but remember what Jamili said, which is, Rated Battlegrounds are just a bunch of arena matches happening on a larger scale map. Just because you have 2v2 over here, you have a 3v3 over here, you might have a 5v5 over here, but it's still just arenas, but on a large scale. What would I change? I think this is one of those times I'm going to reach back to previous answers. And again, leaning back to the whole fact that we need, without coaching, we're just teaching ourselves. So I would have them create a workable PvP learning environment. So just like how we have PvE learning environments with the initial island, the way leveling teaches you how to play your character in a PvE setting and then into dungeons and everything else. I'd love to have something that has a teaching as well for PvP, but also give some sort of feedback. Again, bring in the AI after a match, give your death log and say, you died not because the healer didn't heal you, but if you hadn't run around the corner and lined them or forgot to do block or whatever, then teach a person what they did wrong rather than what other people did wrong. So that's, I'm pretty sure I said that before, but or at least over a couple different episodes. So definitely smush that together. So that's mine.
Yeah, it's really interesting that there isn't anything like that yet. There's never been for PvP, and it seems like there's a lot of cool ways you could do it. I think maybe. Right. And from their perspective, something like Comp Stomp is meant to be somewhat like that, but Comp Stomp is a joke, right? Like it's not even remotely a challenge. It doesn't scale. But yeah, if you could scale Comp Stomp and then put it in arena, where it's like, okay, I want to play against level 1 computers. Yeah. All right, that was easy. Let me go to level 2. Ooh, slightly hard. If you could just scale the system, essentially Mythic Plus scaling, I think that would be really fun. I mean, and not to talk about anything nefarious here, but we already know that programs can play characters really well. So
what?
Might as well. Yeah.
There's bots that can play characters well?
There's people. Do you know that there's bots in Arena? That's crazy, right? Who'd have guessed?
Ooh. So, quick question before we go into the last piece. Is there a feral bot? Because there's bots that play.
Feral bot.
Yeah, there's the DH bots. There's the shaman bot. There's there's priest bots, right? Is there a viable?
I think there's everything. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I've not heard about it personally, and I don't think it would work. Some things people get rank 1 of botting. I don't think that would work for feral, but I'm sure there's a feral bot out there, but not that I know of that would actually work at a decent level in PvP. I think feral requires a human touch.
Maybe that's why there's not so many rank 1 ferals.
We need better bots, basically.
we need better bots. Petition for better bots.
Jesus.
Let's get Elon Musk on this.
Oh Lord.
Feral bot creation.
No,
that'd be good.
Then nudity will be allowed, and then I'll just go to hell. All right. On that, let's get into the PvP news.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
That was going down the wrong rails. All right. PvP news. Here we are. So events. Big. Do you want to talk about the first one? I feel like.
Yeah. So we had a technically PvP 3v3 summer tournament, and it was pretty exciting. We only had 3 teams, but it was 2 hours of games, which is pretty crazy. So congratulations to Draco Cleave for winning. That was Zeke, Butta, and Meat Monk.
Mm-hmm.
And they defeated Nesper's team. I don't remember their name, but it was Nesper, Ferrix, and I'm blanking on who healed them. But anyway,
too. I feel
yes,
bad.
it was. Me too. It was a fun day of games. Jake and I shoutcasted, and Jarisar was in the background doing the broadcasting and the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 3-person crew. It was really fun, and it's something we're definitely looking to do again, probably in the War Within. And it was 100% crowd funded, which is cool. And hopefully, as we go on, there will be even more and more crowdfunding available, and people that will incentivize people to play. But Garrison, you had a fun time, I presume.
Yeah, I did. And while you're talking, it was Sleepyhead. Sleepyhead was the one that healed Ferrix.
Sleepyhead, that's right. Okay, yeah.
I had a blast. I loved doing the backgrounds on that, doing the administration organization. That's fun.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was fun. I think the other couple of community events, though, there was the Liquid Eve Ascension. They did a Great Push style tournament on the 29th, and Team 5G. I love that name. It's it's 5 girls.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. they're high speed, but they won with a final score of 69. So congrats to them. I think the next team was down, it was 1 point. It was 68 to 69 between first and second place. So absolute amazing job to them. And the dynamic duo 2v2 was done there. I think that was Team Valor that did that. And they're apparently also going to be doing it monthly as well. That was the other thing I was thinking about. So congrats to Team Do and Titty, who are doing a Warrior Rest of Druid 2's team. So congrats to them for winning that. And that's just a fun one. I think it's in-game gold that they win, which is totally cool and good. I think that's it for past events that have happened. Otherwise, we got hot fixes come out every week. I haven't seen anything that is really PvP related though. I think Big, you pay a bit more attention to the hot fixes than I have lately, especially because you do all the tier sets and all the work you do. Have you seen anything that was PvP game changing in the past 2 weeks?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
Not on retail, at least.
Oh yeah, I don't think anything was even in Kata though. Kata, the fire elementals got a bit of an AI shift, but I'm not seeing anything there.
Yeah, nothing major.
Okay. All right. Well, hot fixes. Maybe we'll because we're so close to the sunset of Dragonflight. I'm not expecting to see any PvP hot fixes anymore. We'll probably everything's going to be shifting, or everything already has shifted to the War Within. So, is what it is. Another piece, kind of PvP related, but Blizzard has turned off character restoration. So if you've deleted a character and you want it back, you're gonna have to wait till after the War Within launches. I'm guessing this has to do with their changes with warbands and a bunch of the work behind that. So you're gonna be holding on. If you delete somebody in one of your tunes and you want it back right away, you're gonna be waiting for a while. And last but not least, this is a War Within piece, but it's been getting a lot of chatter lately, even in our Discord, and it's the Shaman rework. So, and I want to speak to this because there was an interesting conversation. Specifically, Uzo came into our Discord and was talking about this and talking about how enhancement shamans have actually had somewhat of a negative power increase over the whole expansion because of the way their stat weighting and their mastery works, and how at the beginning of the expansion they were really strong, but then over the expansion, between nerfs and everything else, as health pools increased, their power didn't increase linearly, but actually has gone in almost negative, where, you know, if they took away 25% of your health using ability X in season 1, they're now taking away like maybe 15% of your health in season 4, and how that kind of feels bad, and that doesn't seem to be addressed at all. But also looking at everything, it looks like everything has been a change for elemental or restoration. I haven't really seen there actually be any change for enhancement in the beta notes or anything that's been newsworthy. So I'm just kind of throwing out here, what do you guys think, if you paid attention to the shaman rework, and if anything, how do you feel in your fights against, let's say, an enhancement shaman, if you actually have had that experience in this past expansion, in this past patch? How do they even feel? Like, do they feel like they're a threat, or do you feel like, oh, it's an enhancement shaman, train the blue? Snoopy.
I actually had I was doing like a high shuffle today, and this is the shuffle that got me the number 1 feral. There was a shaman 2950 MR, and there was an enhance in the lobby, and I mean, that's like the first one I've seen in a long time. I think it was Joe Fernandez actually on the shaman.
Yeah.
And Dennis won or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's his name or something. And he I mean, it seemed pretty good. Like, it seemed like viable. But I think overall though, like, they're not a great spec. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I've talked to Swapsy a lot about enhancement shaman, and his take on the problem with enhance is just mobility. That it's kind of been left behind on mobility creep, and it has problems like connecting. And I think the problem with shaman, just kind of structurally, is you're more of a support class than anything else. I think when you play enhance, it's not really your damage that's winning the game, kind of everything else you're doing. I think playing shaman is kind of hard for that reason, because you have to do a lot more than just throughput. I know maybe there was a period of time where Ellie was kind of ridiculous and just doing damage and being totally fine, but I think with enhance you definitely have to do a lot more than other specs for like less return. You know, it's kind of the effort to reward ratio is kind of off there. But I don't necessarily agree that damage is enhancement's problem. I think right now its damage is actually pretty good, if I'm being honest. I mean, there was a period of time, I think they did a little rework in season 1 or season 2 where enhancement was like bonkers for like a month, and it was just like one-shotting people. But then something got nerfed. I don't know exactly, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I think listening to that and kind of listening to what other people are saying, then I'm kind of concerned, because it sounds like enhancement isn't really changing much. So therefore it's going to be season 1 is going to be pretty bonkers probably, because, you know, procs and percentages and everything, and low health pools to damage ratio in season 1. Always there's that imbalance that happens. So it's probably going to be super strong, but also feel kind of weird. And then as the War Within carries on, we'll probably see the same thing then, unless they do another rework or do something to enhancement somewhere in the middle of the War Within. So, because if you actually look at the rework or the notes, which we have linked in the show notes, but if you look at it for shaman, there's like this huge list initially where the new talent for, so that's obviously the left side. And I think the neat thing here is they changed a bunch of stuff that was like two talent points to 1 talent point. So I think that streamlined the trees a little bit better, which is great. And then elemental, okay, there's like 20 different, oh my goodness, like a huge number of changes. And then enhancement has 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes, and the removal of 3 talents, which is Wind Fury Totem, Focused Insight, and Refreshing Waters. And then
Could just be doing another pass at some later point.
maybe
Too,
I hope so. I hope so, because Restoration then has like another huge number of updates. It's like it's like all the focus went to Elemental and Restoration, and like Enhancement got like this little like.
Got the crumbs.
Yeah, I think Wind Fury got removed from, because I think it got moved somewhere else. I think, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about that briefly, just because anyway, if you're interested, again, come on over to our show Discord. We have lots of great conversations over there, so do that. That's all I got to say. And yes, chat, I think you're right. Shaman isn't done. I think they're still going to go back and do another pass on Enhancement. So, all right. That's the show. Snoopy, anybody want to shout out?
You guys.
Aw.
Want to shout out you two, Big Mo and Garrissar. Really, it's been a nice show. It's been a blast. And I guess I could shout out also, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anyone else right now. But yeah. So you two.
Aw, thanks.
A pleasure.
Big.
I want to give a shout out to Leah, aka Awakened, who's not only been doing skill capped articles, but also is making her own website similar to like that Ironforge website for Kata Classic, but it's going to have a lot more unique functionality. So shout out to Leah for making this cool, potentially really cool PvP website that hopefully everyone's going to be using in the near future.
That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is I want to give a quick shout out to all the people actually donated to our tournament. So huge shout out for those people for sharing and really donating their hard-earned cash into that, and it was greatly appreciated. So probably I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not, but so I'm going to do a shout out to Stastro, good friend of the show, Shadow, who also gave some money, Ezabet, who's a listener to the show, and D Machine actually dropped a huge chunk of cash into that. So that prize pool, the money that people earned from doing the tournament, is courtesy of those people. So much love. All right, Snoopy, we didn't do this. We should have done this at the beginning. Where can people find you? Like, if somebody wants to look for Snoopy on or on Twitch or on YouTube, or like, where are we finding you, man?
So SNUPY, Snoopy. You can find that on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, anywhere you go really. Just search it on Google and you'll get like all my things up. Also Instagram. SNUPY.
Love it. And Big, where can people find us?
Yeah, you can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join a discussion on the Bonus Roll Production Discord. Also, you can visit the Bonus Roll website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at bonusroll.gg. This directory also has a review system, so head over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows.
Indeed. And if anybody's wondering, we didn't talk about videos, so that's why Ed wasn't invited back. All right. On that, I want to thank everybody for watching. Links for everything we talked about are in the show notes. Come check those out, and you can follow our conversations. And again, head on over to our Discord, and you can talk to us there. Thank you all for listening. Have a good night, everybody.